How's it going, YouTube? This is my first attempt at a how-to video. This is how I fitted a set of cheaper Chinese style heated elements to the Moto Guzzi V85TT. I simply just didn't want to spend the £200 that you could buy the actual proper heated grips from Moto Guzzi, because all in all, between buying the heated elements and the new Pro grips, project cost me £53, which was pretty good saving. And to be fair, they work amazingly. The temperatures last Saturday was about 4 degrees and I went on a ride and I actually had to turn the heat from 3 down to 2 because they were just too warm. And that's me using my leather Halverson's summer gloves. So they work great and wired very simply, as you'll see in the video. So without further ado, we'll move into the first clip and I hope it's of use to you. So in this first clip you can see the new Pro grips and the heating elements that I got from this company called KImpex, and the two-way switch that came with the heating elements that's got a high and a low on it. In this clip I've got a close-up of the actual switch because there's a slight word of warning to anyone. The resistor in this picture gets extremely hot when the switch is on high, so much so that I was actually a bit concerned where I was going to put it on the bike, that it wasn't going to melt something, so just be careful. This next clip, it's the Pro grips, and as you can see in the Pro grips, one has a slightly larger internal diameter than the other. If it's not really obvious, the larger diameter goes over the throttle body and the narrower one goes on the left. This next clip's really just showing you that I had to use some silicone spray to actually get the grips onto the handlebars. They were so tight. I actually don't think that the compressor would work because of the porous nature of the grips, so I had to use some silicone. This is the nut you need to remove to be able to get the hand guards off, to be able to get at the bar end. Once you have the nut out of the bar end, you're left with the bar end itself, and that I took off with an adjustable spanner. Once you take the Allen key bolt out of the handguard, you're left with the bar end itself. It simply screws out with an adjustable spanner, or I think it was a 22mm moved. And this just shows what you're left with when you take the bar end out. If you've got a compressor, you push it in underneath the rubber grip, blow some air in there and it'll simply slide off. Again, I don't have an air compressor, so I had to use a little bit of the silicone spray, for which the grip came off relatively easily. In this clip, this is what you're kind of left with. Just a note of reference, the little hole that you see on the bar at the top, I believe if you were fitting the Moto Guzzi heated grips, a screw actually locates there. This is the heated elements fitted, and just to stop them from moving or being damaged whilst putting the grips on, I wrapped a little bit of PVC insulating tape around both ends. And this is the one on the throttle body side. Just a word of caution in this picture, you just need to be careful of the wires. Just make sure you've got them located so they don't snag on something when you're twisting the throttle, and so there's a nice moderate bend on the wires themselves so they don't crack or break eventually with the constant twisting of the throttle. And these next two clips is basically the finished job once the grips are in place and everything's screwed back together again on the bar. Nice tidy job, I think. So let's now move on to the actual wiring side of the heated grips. First thing you need to do is remove this front screw on both sides of the headstock. This allows you to remove the little panel that's around the key barrel, which lets you have access to the tank screws. Now this is optional. You can get the little panel off to the side, which we'll see in a minute, but I found that if you loosened these two bolts, that you could actually lift the tank a couple of inches, and that allowed the panel to come out with ease. If you don't remove the tank or lift the tank, you can take the panel off, but you have to do a little bit of bending, and at the minute the temperatures was only 2 degrees in my shed, and I was a little worried that the brittle plastic might break. And this is the panel you're looking for. It's just in front of the cylinder head. Once you remove the 3 screws, you can then get access to the wiring for the heated grips. It's just a close-up of one of the screws. They are a Torx style screw. So these are the Molex connectors you're looking for once you get the panel screwed out of the way. I purchased the female versions and simply wired them to the heated grips and simply connected them up, and that was pretty much it. Everything worked as if they were standard Moto Guzzi heated grips. In this final clip you can see me cycling through the different levels of heat, 1, 2 and 3. The grips, I have to say, give off enough heat. I'm not going to say they're really hot, they just give off enough heat. Enough that I can use my Halverson's summer leather gloves. So this is the end of the video. I hope it was of use to somebody, and if it was, if you don't mind giving a wee like, it would help the algorithm. And if you have any comments or any questions about anything that I've done, don't hesitate to ask, and I'm more than happy to reply and try and help you out. So with that, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again.